So today's topic, I actually got the idea from a woman called Brooke Castillo. She's a life coach, and she was talking about this topic, and I thought it was really interesting. And I thought this is something that you ladies could really use and to shine some light on. And I wanted to share it with you because of that. So the topic I want to talk to you about is resting versus laziness. Okay, resting versus laziness. Now, this is really interesting because we know when we're being lazy, we know when we're taking a rest, but there's so much overlap. Do we ever actually get good rest? Or do we feel guilty or ashamed? Should we be doing something else? How do we know how to actually rest and when it's okay to rest? And as opposed to how do we know when we're being lazy and when we should actually be doing something and kicking ourselves in the butt? So I want to shed some light on that. And the first thing I want to do is help you differentiate between the two. So what's resting versus laziness, okay? Now, this is something you have to ask yourself, okay? Are you currently getting the results that you are capable of at the highest level? Okay, ask yourself that. And then the other thing is, are you not getting the results and also not doing everything you know you should be doing? Those are two things. Results, no results. Okay? Results that you're capable of means you've earned rest and you're enjoying your rest. Whereas no results equals probably leaning towards the lazy side and we're feeling guilty about it, or we've been banging our heads against the wall for a while. Okay? Now, what's really interesting, and you ladies, you'll know this right away, when you're resting, when you've earned your rest, when you're thoroughly in the moment, rejuvenating and getting recharged, you don't have to justify why you're doing it, right? You know you deserve it, you know you need it, and you just do it. But on the flip side, when we're being lazy, guess what we do? We over justify it to ourselves, right? It's okay, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'll do more tomorrow, it was a long day, it was a rough day, I'm just gonna sit for a minute, right? We over justify and we have so many excuses as to why we're taking a break or not doing something that we know we should be doing, right? Whereas when we're genuinely resting, we're cool with it. We don't have to explain it to ourselves, we don't have to justify it to anybody else. Right? It's like a mic drop. Boom, I earned it. That's all you gotta know. Right? Very interesting. Very interesting. And what's also interesting, ladies, is that, like I was saying before, true rest is totally essential. You need it. You need me time. You need to rest. You need to collect yourself. And you need to recharge and rejuvenate. True rest does that. True rest will recharge you, will rejuvenate you. It will. Whereas laziness makes you feel guilty, makes you embarrassed, makes you ashamed. And what do you do the whole time when you know you should be doing something else? You either are anxious about going to do that thing, trying to think of another excuse as to why you can't do that thing, crapping all over yourself because you're being lazy and why can't I just make myself go do that thing? When you're being lazy, you never actually enjoy that time doing that thing, do you? Never fully. And so you didn't even take advantage of being lazy because you weren't actually resting and being recharged. You've actually just corroded more of your self-esteem, right? So we think by being lazy, we deserve it, right? Because we've worked hard, we deserved it. But it's doing absolutely nothing for you. It's not giving you the rest you need, and it's not boosting your self-esteem like you need to feel capable of actually being on a weight loss journey and being successful on it, right? That's why we normally overeat late at night. We snack late at night in front of the TV, because there is always something you're supposed to be doing that you didn't do, whether that was the last load of dishes or folding some laundry or working out. You couldn't just rest and watch your TV show and be content with that like you deserved it. You're distracting yourself with food, saying that that's something to do instead of actually doing the thing you're supposed to. right? So you didn't get any rest. You thought it was me time, my unwinding time. Well, you just made yourself even more mad at yourself by eating when you know you shouldn't have, right? And it's this cycle of we think we need this time, we take this time, but nothing happened in that time. We didn't even get the benefits of taking a break. And it's counterproductive. And when you look at it like that, you're like, oh, wow, right? Kind of very bitter pill to swallow there. But important to notice the difference, because if you're resting, it's to rejuvenate. It's because you need it. It's because you've earned it, right? You will never be content and recharged if you haven't earned that break. And doing what you're supposed to is not earning the break, right? Going to work is not earning your break. That was something that had to happen, right? You don't feel particularly accomplished when you come home from work every day, right? There's nothing crazy new that's happened. So you didn't earn any break. That was a part of your day. So you need to be inserting things that, that will actually make you proud. So here's a couple steps of how you can turn that laziness into deserving rest, and how we can actually start being productive and efficient in our resting and use it properly and shorten those laziness times and periods, okay? So step one, very simple. From this point on, you no longer call yourself lazy, and you no longer use that word. It is not in your vocabulary. There's no such thing as a lazy day. There's no such thing as I feel like being lazy today. You know you're lazy. Now move on. We don't need to say it again. We don't need to analyze it. We don't need to harp on it, because the more you say it, the more you align with it, and the more it's built in your character and your identity. And you are what you say you are. And if that's something that you say quite frequently, then it's going to be something you do quite frequently. So don't say it. And the more you don't say it, the less you'll think it. No more thinking, no more saying, I'm lazy. Okay, remove the word from this point on. We don't need it anymore. We already know what it is. We can seal it. Okay, that's the first thing to kind of break free and start to make your patterns look slightly different just by how you talk. Super simple, very effective, very underestimated. Step number two. What's really interesting is when we think of laziness, when I think of laziness, it basically just means I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to do it, right? If we sum up laziness, that's what it is. I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it, right? The easy way out. Well, nothing in life is always easy. Nothing in life you will always want to be doing, right? So we can just take that off the table right now. You will never want to do everything. You will never want to meal prep every time. You will never want to work out every time. You will never want to show up to these coaching calls every time. You'll never always want to be a mom every time. Sometimes you wish you could just pause, right? You will never want to, so stop waiting for this magical land of inspiration to be the thing that gets you to do something, okay? The more you practice overcoming laziness, the less it actually shows up, because you expect it to be there, and you've already built up calluses to keep going, okay? So what does this have to do? So step number two is you have to look at your results. You have to look at your results. So you're being lazy because you don't want to do something, or you know you should be doing something else, or you're procrastinating, or it seems too overwhelming. Whatever the reason, it's because you're focusing on the activity that needs to get done instead of the result that activity will bring you. Okay? So step number two, to earn your rest and shorten those lazy spurts, is in the moment, whether you're in the moment of being lazy or you feel like you're about to talk yourself out of something because you really don't feel like doing it. Feel, right? We can't do everything that we feel. There'd be lots of murders happening and screaming happening. Like, that's just not an option. So you have to focus on the results. So an example, if you find yourself procrastinating to work out, or skipping it, or pushing it off, ask yourself, what is the result I was hoping for from working out, right? And that could be different from person to person. It could be I wanted to get stronger, I wanted to sweat, I wanted to de-stress, whatever, right? And then now you have this result. The result, like knowing the result, might be just enough to make you actually go do it. It might just be. And then even if it isn't, guess what you can do? You can now change the activity to fit that result. So if you're avoiding working out and you want to work out because it's going to make you sweat and you really need a good sweat, well then guess what? If you can't work your way up to doing a workout, you can say, okay, how can I sweat? How can I sweat? Well, guess what? If you did burpees for 3 minutes straight, I bet you would sweat. And then you're done, right? If you went for a jog around the block, you'd sweat. So the result's still the same, the activity has changed, and you have gone and done something you didn't feel like doing, you've done it anyway. You broke that cycle, right? Laziness lost, and you won one more time. And every time you overcome the laziness with just something small, it's going to show up less and less, and it's going to have less of a hold on you. It's going to be less easy to fall into it. So step number 1, no longer have it in your vocabulary. We're not going to use it anymore. You don't need it. It's not useful. You can find better words and more specific words to describe your situation. Step 1, remove it. Step 2, backtrack your results. What are we going for here? Is that result enough to push you to start? Or do you need to change the activity so it's not as overwhelming, as doesn't require as much effort, as much time? So change that result. And then the third step here is you have to add a timeline. You have to add a timeline, okay? Our work will expand to the exact amount of effort and time that you give it, right? If you work 8 hours a day, do you actually work 8 hours a day? Do you actually, if I told you to record what you did every 15 minutes on a spreadsheet, and then we looked at what happened every 15 minutes, how embarrassing would that be? Checked email, checked email, checked email. Is that any productive? Why do we check email so much? Why do we check social media so much? Why did we talk to this person for so long, right? If we work 8 hours, we're gonna take 8 hours to get our work done, right? If we say, I'm gonna get a walk done in the next hour, what do? We're gonna wait 50 minutes and then go for a 10-minute walk at the end, right? That's laziness. Guess what happens for those 50 minutes? You're anxious about your walk, you're still trying to talk yourself out of it, then back into it, you get distracted with something else, you know, we're wasting time here. Whereas, if you said, I'm giving myself 10 minutes to go for a walk right now, and you get it done at the beginning, then guess what? You've got 50 minutes of rest. 50 minutes of rest. Example 1 is that laziness. You wasted 50 minutes battling with yourself, not overcoming laziness, and then rushing it. It's like doing a project in school last minute. Maybe, you know, that pressure is good because guess what it shows you? It shows you can write an entire essay in 30 minutes. That's what it shows you, right? So if you could do it in that, you can create the same environment and do it earlier minus the pressure, right? If I said you have an hour to write this essay right now and it's due in 3 weeks, if you sat down and wrote it now, you'd be laughing for 3 weeks. And then you can rest for 3 weeks instead of labeling yourself as a procrastinator, as someone lazy, as someone who leaves things to the last minute, of somebody who works well under pressure, right? So that's step number 3. You have to add that timeline. Decrease your time. You underestimate yourself. You will get it done if you set that time, right? And that's going to make it easier to work yourself up to doing it as well. So in the moment, right? Whether you're dealing with this right now as I'm talking, procrastinating because we're supposed to be doing something after this call, whether it's happening right now or you know it's going to happen sometime in this week, of when you are not going to feel like doing something and the potential to not do it's very high because we're still strung up on our feelings. You have to, number 1, do not use the word lazy. Do not use the word procrastinating. Recognize what you're doing. You are basing a decision and an action on a feeling. Recognize it. You all do. You make the conscious choice to not do something, and then you normally feel like crap about it right away, but we push it down real quick. You all can recognize it. That's not the hard part, right? So recognize it. Don't use the wrong words. Just take a second, see what that result was that we wanted to accomplish. See if that can push you to do it. If not, change the activity to whatever's going to get you a similar result. And then just do something and put a time limit on that something. I'm going to get my workout in before 8 o'clock and it's 7:45. Whatever that is, right? 15 minutes of whatever the workout is. Maybe it's not a Fit Queen workout. Maybe you can't work yourself up to do that, but you can still get a similar result. And you beat laziness. It didn't win. And then by the time you're done at 8 o'clock, you can go binge your favorite show. You can go be a couch potato. You can do anything that you want and not feel guilty about it because you've earned it. Instead of sitting there stewing in everything you wish you could have done or everything you're going to do better tomorrow at. When your mind isn't actually turned off. Or you do turn it off and then other habits come in to distract you from making sure it doesn't pop back up, like eating. Right? So it's all about the results. It's all about the results. If you're not getting the results that you want, you're not putting in the effort. There's too much laziness, not enough rest happening. You're pushing things off because you don't feel like doing them. You will never feel like doing them. Stop waiting to figure out a way to make yourself do something anyway. And earn your rest. Earn your rest. Because the only way you enjoy your rest is if you've made yourself proud. If you have a high opinion of yourself while resting. You have to have a high opinion of yourself while resting. You ever wake up early on a Saturday, get all the chores done, all the errands, and then you have the rest of the day? How good does that feel? Like, how good did that feel? The whole day, no responsibilities. I could do whatever I want. I could go where I want. I could talk to who I want. There's no pressure. There's no anxiety. There's no doom and gloom of how horrible a person you are, how you're so lazy, how you keep leaving things to the last minute, how you're going to have to push things off into Sunday. There's none of that. Just figure out how to do something. Break it down. Get the results. Get the results. Any result. You will not have a high opinion of yourself if you do not give yourself some result. If you're wondering if you should choose to do nothing, choose to take a break, or do something else, ask yourself, have I achieved any type of result today? And that's a result is a very broad term. You can determine what a result means to you, but have you achieved any result today? The answer is no. You cannot sit on the couch. You have to do something that makes you, it gives you high esteem. Like if you're sitting on the couch and you're like, yeah, I'm the shit. Yeah, I'm the boss. That's what it is. And you've all been there. You're like, I earned this cold frickin' beer. I worked hard for it. And you get totally recharged. You got everything you need done. You made yourself proud. You think you're the shit. And you get to be lazy. You get to be lazy and it's actually justified. You get to be okay with doing nothing. The problem you're having now is there's pockets of doing nothing, but you're not feeling good about it. There's no such thing as you're taking too much rest or not enough rest. That's completely subjective, what those mean. But whatever you do, it has to be serving a purpose. And doing nothing because you don't feel like doing something else isn't serving a purpose and will make you feel very bad about yourself. It's like poison. It really is poisoning yourself. And it's not as hard as you think to break that cycle. It's just, what little thing can I do? Little thing. Okay? So, if you're feeling this right now, which I'm sure at least one lady is listening to me right now, okay, in the comments, I want you to write what the thing is that you're not doing or you should have done today. Write it in the comments. And then I want you to tell me, why did you want to do that in the first place? What was the result you wanted from it? It could be as simple as burning calories. It could be as simple as I wanted to de-stress. I wanted to feel good. I needed to get my heart rate up. So write down that thing, and then what is the result you wanted from it? So if you overate, your goal was to not eat, right? And why did you not want to eat? Why? What was the result you wanted from not over snacking? And then you say, okay, is that result enough to push me to not continue that habit, right? If we're mid-habit, or what is another activity besides not snacking that could give me that result? And then figure that out, put a quick time limit on it, 5, 10 minutes, and then go do that, right? If you've been having a really crappy week and you've been blowing your diet every day, and at this point, your only result is to just feel good about how you ended the day, what else is gonna make you feel good? What can we do? What is gonna make you feel good? Blasting the music and having a dance party with the hubby for 20 minutes? It's gonna burn calories and it's gonna make you feel good. So now you're counteracting the bad habit, right? If it's a workout, you know, go for a walk around the block. You've done something, you've produced some result instead of regret. You need a result every day. And one of the best things you can do is wake up every morning and say, what is the result that I want today? What is the result? What is a tangible result? Right? Because a result can be achieved many different ways. So if you keep screwing up, you keep screwing up, you keep screwing up, or you keep putting off, find one way to get the same result. Just find something else, make it small, make it achievable, make it not overwhelming and not time consuming, and do that. And if you do that over time, laziness does not pop up and it does not have a hold on you. It becomes easy to do things despite not feeling like it. You are no longer ruled by your emotions in that sense. And you can make a logical decision that makes you feel confident. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. So take that with you, ladies. Listen to this more than once if you need to, because this is an issue that's going to continue to pop up. We're lazy. We're a lazy species, especially in North America. We hit the snooze button, right? We maybe go over on our lunch break a little bit, right? Like we're lazy because it's easy, and it's in our DNA. It's biologically easy, right? Like being lazy comes from us not wanting to expend energy because we don't know when we're going to have to run from a bear, right? Or when we don't, we're going to have a food shortage. That's where it comes from. So it's a very valid and it's a very real thing, but we can outsmart it. And you only outsmart it by putting in reps on the right side and not doing something just because you don't feel like it. If everything you don't do, think about everything you're disappointed that you couldn't do. If it was all because you didn't feel like it, you're in a dangerous spot. If recently everything that didn't happen or everything you've been procrastinating or wish you could have done, if it's all stemming from you just didn't feel like doing it, that's a dangerous spot. Recognize that. You haven't been earning your rest. You haven't been searching for a result or trying to brainstorm a way to get that result. You've been giving into your feelings and then you've been stewing in your own self-disappointment, thinking it's rest, thinking you've earned it, thinking you've deserved it, right? And then all you've done is wasted X amount of hours through your week when you could have had a couple results hit here and there. And then that it exponentially grows over time. Exponentially, like really and truly. It's amazing how one small thing now your future self will thank you for. 1,000,000%, right? Have you done anything lately that your future self would thank you for? Sure, probably a couple, for sure. Could you do more? Absolutely. Absolutely. So figure out the results and pick something. Pick something and do something. We cannot let the reason every time you miss a workout, every time you don't meal prep, every time you oversnack, it can't be based on a feeling. It couldn't be because you wanted to or didn't want to do it. It can't be. This stuff needs to get done. You will not live a healthy, happy life if these habits aren't permanent, right? If these good, healthy habits aren't permanent, you will not be happy. You will always be held back and always stopping short of your potential. That's a fact. That's the worst fate of all. Knowing what you can do and never reaching it. That's the worst. That's the worst. So you gotta just tackle it, ladies, and that's what we're here for as well, right? What are some activities that can get you the same result? We're here to brainstorm. So like I said, rewatch this video every time you feel like laziness is becoming too powerful. Doing something because you don't feel like doing it, right? Next time you say, I'm just gonna be lazy, don't say it. Say, I'm not gonna do it because I don't feel like it. Then see how it changes. Then see how it changes. Like, well, that's not a good enough reason not to do something, because I'm never going to want to do it if I always don't feel like doing it and then don't do it. Because you're going to want to do it once a month. And are you going to wait once a month to do something? You might as well not do it at all, because that's not going to progress you. You're not going to want to keep doing it if that's all the result you see, right? So step one, no longer use lazy. Say, I don't feel like it. That'll really change your tune. Number two, reverse engineer a result. And then number three is put a timeline on it so it's achievable, it's not overwhelming, and you're more effective. And then you've created so much extra time, you can then rest. You've earned your rest. Never do nothing if you have not had a result first. Okay, ladies? That's your lesson for the day. So find, if you're resting right now, all right, that's happening right now, find a result. What would make you happy? Find something to get you that result. Do it quick in 2-3 minutes, and you'll feel better. And you've earned your rest after that. So in 2-3 minutes, you can go back to doing nothing, but feel good about it this time. That's the difference.